Hello, friends. This is Mrs. Dennis, and today I am going to introduce to you a new story. Yes, a new story. Now, this story is called Aladdin and the Wonderful Lamp. Have you ever heard of Aladdin before? It is a classic tale, a story that's been around. There's an Aladdin cartoon, there's an Aladdin movie. So, this is the same classic story. So, first things first, I'm going to introduce to you some vocabulary because, of course, with every story we have vocabulary. But this vocabulary you don't have to write down in your vocabulary journal. This vocabulary I just want you to listen to. We're going to go through a few things. It's going to be a little bit different because you don't actually have the book in front of you like I would like for you to have, but that's okay. We're going to kind of go through it and then I'm going to read part 1 to you. All right, let's get started. So we have Aladdin. Aladdin is the main character in this chapter. So you remember when we talked about major characters? Aladdin is a major character. We have tailor. A tailor is someone who makes clothing, and you can see the lady sewing and making the clothing. We have merchant. A merchant is someone who sells goods to make money, and that word down there, now you can see it, is money. Someone who sells goods to make money. We have precious. Precious is something valuable. And we also have treasure, which is also something considered to be valuable. We have glittering at the top, and that means sparkling. It's just glittering, sparkling. And then we have a magician. A magician is a person who does tricks using a power that makes it seem like impossible things can happen. Have you ever seen a magic trick before? I've seen a whole magic show, and friends, let me tell you, it was amazing. Classic tales. So we are going to begin reading some classic tales, and these are some of the world's favorite children's stories. So do any of these classic tales look familiar? You can see here we have a picture of Rat, Toad, and Mole. And then we have Aladdin in the middle. And then, do you know what this one is over here? The first one? Alice in Wonderland. So where do these tales come from? So the chapters in these tales originate from different places around the world. 2 of the chapters were written by well-known authors, while others have been passed down orally in certain countries and cultures. So these stories come from all over the world. So Aladdin and the Wonderful Lamp comes from Persia, which is Iran, and Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and The Open Road come from England. Now we know that The Open Road, right, that's the name of one of our chapters from The Wind and the Willows. We know that it comes from a different place because the language, right, some of the words that they use, it doesn't sound very familiar to us. It sounds very different. So we know that because the language sounds very different, it comes from somewhere else. So when you're listening to Aladdin and the Wonderful Lamp Part 1, I want you to listen for that language and listen for the differences in the language and the words that they use as it compares to some of the words and the language that we use. Friends, this is called a table of contents. A table of contents is a list of section and chapter titles and page numbers in a book. So we're reading classic tales, right? It says at the top, table of contents, classic tales, unit 1 reader. Now, if we were in the classroom, you would have a book in front of you. It would be your book, your reader, right in front of you, and you will be able to take that tracking finger, your pointer finger, and you will be able to follow along with everything that I'm doing. But since you don't have the book, it's going to be a little difficult for you to be able to track what I'm doing. So I want you to just follow along on the screen. So, the introduction, where in the world do these tales come from? That's page 2. We just talked about that already. right? It's the map that I showed you, where Aladdin and the Open Road and Alice in Wonderland, right? We just looked at that. But then I'm going to read to you chapter 1, Aladdin and the Wonderful Lamp, part 1. So here's what I want you to notice. How many chapters do you see? Go ahead, take a look. That's right, 11 chapters. Within these 11 chapters, I am going to read to you 3 different stories. Aladdin and the Wonderful Lamp, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, and The Open Road. Those are the 3 stories that I'm going to read to you within this classic tales reader. 3 different stories, 3 classic tales. Now, I am going to I'm going to start reading, but it's going to be a separate recording. So this quick little few minutes is just for me to let you know what's coming up, what I'm getting ready to do. And I want you to listen to the classic tale, part 1 of Aladdin and the Wonderful Lamp. Can't wait to read it to you. That's all for now.